Hi, I wanted to post some of my thoughts on Froggy Fresh. I'm not actually sure if I'm actually going to post this, but we shall see. So, Froggy Fresh is an artist known as Krispy Kreme. I'm not going to cover history because you can look that up for yourself. So, I wanted to say some of my thoughts. I have to admit that part of my ulterior motive is I would like to be Froggy Fresh's creative manager in some way, or to be involved with it. Of course, what he's doing so far, in my mind, has been so perfect. I certainly don't want to taint anything going on with his creative process. Very curious to know, eventually, what team of people are around him. I've heard a rumor that it's Moneymaker Mike's dad who's the mastermind behind this. If it's true that Tyler Cassidy is this rather more conventional white middle-class younger rapper and wasn't having much success, and then put forward this comedy idea and then it took off, that's kind of what people seem to think. I am really fascinated by the lack of coverage. It blows my mind that he's not been signed apparently to any major label, despite the fact that there's somebody passing off a Vivo whatever account. It's actually not real. So apparently he's not been signed to any label, which makes no sense to me at all. I think his charisma is off the charts. His humor is just unbelievably funny. To me, he's the funniest thing that's happened in my lifetime, excluding Andy Kaufman, because I wasn't old enough to ever know about Andy Kaufman when he was alive. Look up Andy Kaufman, and he was like the original trolling jokester who played it usually quite straight, but I think Froggy Fresh has taken it to another level. If you don't believe me, check out the video where he talks about his hopes and dreams. Hopefully I'll link it down there. And he starts bawling, crying for many minutes, and they're real tears, and it's a little off-putting actually, because it's quite strange. But his sense of humor is quite something to behold. I just want to get a discussion going among those nerds out there who follow what he does and actually think about his creative process and why he does what he does. I certainly hope that he does not go back to Tyler Cassidy, back to mainstream straight-ahead rap. I think it's not... A lot of people say, this is funny, but I want you to get your real stuff out there. I think there's nothing more valuable artistically. Well, it's just a different kind of thing. Humor, making people laugh, especially if it's in a way that's a positive way. It's not tearing down other people. It's relatively clean. It's family friendly. The type of humor that he represents, there's no way to put that down. There's a great value to that in society. I'm talking on a way too abstract way here, but I wanted to make a case there. I wanted to see what people think. I see a lot of comments of people wanting him to do his real Tyler Cassidy stuff. There's no reason to not value the humor that he's doing. I think I've seen comments on his Facebook page where people say, I just had a horrible day at work and it means so much to me to come home all stressed out and to see a Froggy Fresh video. I think, goes without saying, if you're a fan, you probably know what I mean. I'm amazed, like I said, at the lack of coverage, and I almost assume that this is intentional, that he hasn't taken interviews. I mean, he's been on Tosh.0, so he's reached millions and millions of people, even on TV, and yet he's not, as far as I can tell, done any radio and any other television. I can't imagine why that would be. But if it's on purpose, it's really fascinating, and it makes people wonder why. Certainly, I would encourage him to get out there. I think he showed the ability on Tosh.0 in that interview to pull off his character in a live setting. Now, I think Tosh.0 is probably somewhat of a friend and probably understands what he's doing. A little bit on a live performance idea. If I was to be involved with his creative process, I would really want him to push the envelope. I think, we assume that all these people have seen him online. I think he needs to take it to mainstream America and actually go on cable television and news shows and do his thing. he clearly loves fooling people. What my dream Andy Kaufman-esque Froggy Fresh moment would be to see Froggy Fresh go on David Letterman, who, by the way, understands weird performance art. He has a whole history of having on people, and he pretends like he thinks they're crazy, but he consistently has had very avant-garde, humorous things on his show. Back in the day, Andy Kaufman multiple times, and also this artist in New York I can't remember the name of. But I think if you could get to Letterman's people and explain it, I think Letterman would dig this idea. Anyway, so my dream performance would be for Froggy Fresh to do his debut on David Letterman, debut live performance, and to screw up in his performance, forget the words, and to start crying. Breaking down, really embarrassed, and to start going into a version of his fight for your dreams and all those kids out there, you know, you need to treat women right and all that. If you've seen the speech, I want to see him do that in a live context. Now he would have to like train and work on some spectacular acting, but that would be, to me, the ultimate mainstream Froggy Fresh moment, for him to debut, mess up on purpose, become again this thing where people are making fun of it because he has snot in his nose. Well, in this case, they would make fun of him because he messed up on live television, and of course the joke would actually be on us because he did it on purpose. And I think Letterman would play along with that. I hate to even put this video out there because, you know, maybe this will prevent it from happening. But anyway, that's my dream producer, backseat driver for Froggy Fresh. I hate the fact that we can't call him Krispy Kreme. So, how I heard about Krispy Kreme, not that it's relevant, but I was checking Facebook, and a military friend of mine, actually, his wife has gone away from Facebook, but she often operates through his Facebook account, which I'm sure confuses the NSA, if you're following that story. So anyway, so Lindsay posted through her husband. No, actually that's not true. It was actually her husband, who's a military dude, and he posted the Christmas video. I had never even heard of Froggy Fresh. He said, "I can't stand it. I'm going to have to leave the house. My wife won't stop playing this music." And he posted the Christmas video, and I watched that, and literally I was in the middle of driving home to Missouri from Indiana, and I had to pull over and go get Wi-Fi at a McDonald's, which is a perfect place to watch Froggy Fresh, and just watched every video I could, and had tears in my eyes laughing. It was at the time, the funniest thing I'd ever seen. It just hits my sense of humor perfectly. He's making fun of the genre of hip-hop, his humility. It's just so funny, and yet he still clearly is a rapper, a hip-hop artist who is embodying this Southerner, and he's not even from the South, he's from Michigan. I don't know where he was born, but he's pulling off all this stuff. Of course, at the time, I was confused. I assumed he was from the South, and but quickly picked up that, you know, he's playing us here. But then I saw the video of him crying and carrying on, and was confused again. So there was kind of a roller coaster of several days of figuring out, is this guy real or not? It's just amazing, and it's actually really encouraging to me of the younger generation, folks out there that are younger than me, that not only did an audience grow for it, I think it deserves to be a whole lot bigger, but it's encouraging that an artist like him has quality music and humor that is not defined. You can't really compare him to anything. I can't even quite compare him to Andy Kaufman, my favorite comic, because Andy Kaufman, even though he was playing a role, it was quite clear that this was in a comedy box, even though he would do crazy things. I think the majority of people watching it understood he was being crazy, but I don't think people think Froggy Fresh is crazy. I've actually heard people get upset at others in comments because they're saying, hey, he probably has autism, you shouldn't make fun of him, you know, you should be nice to people. Like Froggy Fresh. And who knows? A little bit about the persona that struck me is it's done respectfully. He clearly is playing someone who's dim-witted, Like he's like looking around with his eyes and he's struggling to remember the words, but it's all an act. And yet he embodies that so well and with such respect for his character that it's not like me going, oh, I'm not very smart, you know, duh, or playing a retarded person kind of thing. It's not that at all. He, like, you as the viewer completely accept his character as real, which I find endlessly fascinating, and I think I get the idea that he just does this naturally, that it's not really something he practices. I think for most any of us, it would be something that we would test. We would have to practice it with other people. It's always fascinated me, even like famous comedians like Rowan Atkinson, how they tested their first material. There's one where Rowan Atkinson is miming a Beethoven concerto, and it's one of the funniest things I've ever seen. It's incredibly funny, and I can't imagine performing that for the first time, or just alone with your mirror. You would have no idea what the audience would think. Of course, it makes it easier at the distance of a video. He can put a video up, and it just happened that it took off because his first video quickly got more than 10 million views. Unfortunately, he had to take it down and re-edit it with the word Froggy Fresh rather than Krispy Kreme. So that is why, for those followers of the trivia, Froggy Fresh trivia, most of his videos have lower views than they should, because he had to remove them and change the words to Froggy Fresh. Best Friends is one from the old days, and it didn't have that word in it, so he was able to keep that up. So it has, I don't know, like 6 million views or something. But most of the other views had many more, often many million, and now they're just down to a couple 100,000, which is really sad. I wish that, this is a request out to Froggy Fresh or his people or his admins for his Facebook page, I wish that they would go through a phase of weekly or monthly doing a flashback and posting the old videos. He maybe thinks that they're too old school or they're not cool enough. There's no way. I think Coolest Guys is right up there with Dunked On. Coolest Guys was actually the video that actually embarrassed me at first watching it, but now is one of my favorites. I just think it's the epitome of the silliness that is Froggy Fresh. So I encourage everybody, if you're a new fan, go to his page and watch every single video, because they are fantastic. I made a video with a montage of the funniest moments, like where he's just doing a little video cam thing where he's talking to his fans, and he's talking about, I don't even know the album, listening to Tupac. It was like, I used to listen to this Your Mama song and I would cry in my room, and you know, I probably didn't have a really rough life like Tupac, because I didn't really grow up in the hood at all. At all? The timing of how he says, I didn't really grow up in the hood that much. Pause. At all. It's hilarious. And he gets his hair cut like Justin Bieber, and he mocks a dance by some stupid group on X Factor, which is itself ridiculous. Like, no one of Froggy Fresh's age, even if he was in high school, which I don't think he is high school age, I think he's college age. Even if he was in high school, no one will be caught dead making a video about some boy band on X Factor. But he makes a burn video where he does the dance really badly, and it's hilarious. So those are some of my thoughts on Froggy Fresh. I foresee a tour of malls in the future. I think he should parody the careers of, I can't remember her name, there's a famous one-hit wonder who went around and became hugely famous just going from one mall to another and doing concerts. I think he ought to do concerts in unconventional locations, and then he has a built-in audience at colleges. I think he should go to colleges, but I think they're really, if he wants to do his humor, he really ought to, I don't know, get involved with a different kind of artists that could tour with him. I don't know what that would be yet. It's possible that he'd go to comedy clubs. I really like getting him in a environment where people aren't used to seeing music, like a mall, although they do, but so he's like in a mall, awkward kind of place, in a place where people were walking and they could rope off an area, you know, and they do concerts like that. So he would fit into the stupid teenager 12-year-old vibe. But I think a lot of his just fans of all ages would go, and it would be funny in and of itself that it was at the local mall. That's a thought I have for a tour, and then obviously the colleges. Videos, I don't know, maybe incorporating the videos into the performance, I'm not sure. Anyway, those are some of my thoughts on my latest artistic obsession, Froggy Fresh. I encourage everybody to check out the videos. I also run a libertarian-leaning website that's called iRoots.org. If you're a Politico nerd, you should go check that out. Anyway, best of luck, and we look forward to the next video.